You don't feel the last blow until the fight is over. That's when it arrives. Quiet, cruel, and without the distraction of something to hit back. The boom tube was blue-white and blinding. It didn't open. It tore, splitting Gotham's night down the middle. One breath I was in the rubble with his hand around my throat, and the next I was weightless, pulled toward that impossible light. The air left my lungs in a rush. My ears popped hard enough to make my jaw clench. Every flame, every scream, every groan of twisting rebar dropped away, smothered by that deep, unnatural hum the tube carries. The kind you feel in your bones before you hear it. The ground under me changed, cold. Not the brittle cold of winter stone, but the kind that sinks into the marrow, the kind that belongs to places where the sun is only a rumor. My knees hit first. The jolt lit up my ribs, already cracked from his hits, with a spike of white pain. I tried to rise, but the muscles in my shield arm seized, the memory of his grip still locked in the tendons. I could still taste Gotham. Concrete dust, hot metal, and my own blood. Sharp copper threading the back of my throat. The smell clung to me too. Fire-scorched asphalt, electrical burn, and underneath it, the faint ozone tang of the tube's afterbirth. I forced my head up. My vision swam. Spots of blue and white still burning in my eyes from the light. And through them, he took shape. Darkseid. The tube sealed shut behind him with a sound like a heavy door slamming in a cathedral. He didn't speak, just stood there, letting the weight of his gaze press into me, taking stock like a warlord, counting what was left of a soldier after the battle stripped her bare. My fingers stayed tight on my sword hilt. My stance was low, knees bent, but my breath betrayed me. Ragged from the fight, still carrying the ghost of his hand at my throat. He didn't move at first, didn't speak. Darkseid's stillness is its own kind of violence, the kind that makes your instincts scream to keep your weapon high, because if he chooses to break it, you won't see the start of the swing. I forced myself upright. My shield arm protested, muscles trembling under the weight, the tendons still screaming from where Kal's fingers had dug in. My ribs felt like a cage half collapsed, each breath dragging splinters of bone against muscle. But I stood. Because kneeling was for the dying, and I hadn't decided if that was me yet. His eyes moved over me, not in curiosity, not even in judgment. It was calculation, like a mason studying a cracked stone, deciding if it's worth salvaging. Was this necessary? I asked. My voice was rough, not from fear, but from his hand crushing my throat minutes ago. You were seconds from breaking, he said. I almost laughed. Almost. I'm still here. One eyebrow moved, a small, deliberate break in his mask. Barely. The word cut sharper than I wanted it to. My pride is old, but so is my memory, and it still carried the weight of Bruce falling from orbit, of Gotham's streets caving under Kal's fists, of the sick heat in his eyes when he looked at me. I wasn't done, I said. It came out quieter than I intended, but quieter can be sharper. Quieter makes people lean in. Darkseid's gaze sharpened. You were done the moment you thought he was still the man you knew. I tightened my grip on the sword hilt until my knuckles whitened. And you pulled me here. Why? To lecture me? To watch what's left of the League unravel? He took one slow step forward. The sound of his boots on the floor was like distant thunder in a stone canyon, heavy, echoing, inevitable. I pulled you here, he said, because what comes next will crush you without help. I spat blood to the side. The copper taste clung to my tongue, warm and metallic. I don't want your help. His expression didn't change. But there was a pause before he spoke again, and that pause told me I'd hit something. "You want your world back," he said. "I want your enemy contained. Our purposes align." "My enemy?" I asked. My voice rose then, not to shout, but enough to let the echo carry in this vast, cold place. "That's our Kal-El. He's not—" Darkseid cut me off with a single word. "He is." It hung there. No force. Just certainty. A pronouncement from someone who's ended more heroes than I've met. I wanted to deny it. I wanted to throw his words back in his face. But my ribs still ached from Kal's blows. My throat still carried the ghost of his grip and the look in his eyes when he hit me. I stayed silent, and Darkseid saw it. He drew it from the folds of his gauntlet like a magician producing the weapon that ends the trick. A mother box. Black, ancient, webbed with faint blue veins that pulsed in a rhythm I felt before I heard. It sang in the low register of war. The hum sat in my ribs, vibrating the hairline cracks there until I felt the edges grind. I almost laughed. "A mother box? You really have a gift for irony." His eyes didn't move from mine. "You don't want it?" "I've held one before," I said, my voice hard. I remember how that ended. Gotham's sky burning. Victor? The name caught, even now, even after 5 years. Victor giving everything he had to keep this city breathing. And still, it wasn't enough. The air between us shifted. He didn't look away, but I could feel him stepping into the memory I didn't want to revisit. The smell of scorched circuitry, of blood that didn't know whether to be metal or man. The hollow, echoing thud of Victor's body hitting stone when Steppenwolf's axe found its mark. Darkseid let the silence hold, like he was giving me rope just to see how I'd pull it. Then, quiet. If something that powerful is mine, and not with me, it will die. Not a threat, not cruelty, just a statement of natural order, the same way gravity doesn't apologize when you fall. He let the weight of it hang between us. You've seen the truth of that. I tightened my grip on my sword hilt, the leather creaking under my fingers. You think reminding me of how he died will make me trust you? No, he said. I think it will make you understand the cost of refusing me. He didn't step closer. He didn't need to. The mother box pulsed once in his hand, faint but deliberate, like a heartbeat that knew mine wasn't steady. I hated the way it felt alive. I hated more that I understood its language. Take it, he said. I didn't move right away. I let my eyes drag over the scars on its casing, the deep grooves cut by weapons that no longer existed, the edges worn smooth by the gauntlet that had carried it into more battles than I'd survived. I remembered Victor's hands fused to something just like it, the way the light in his chest dimmed when the connection severed. I told myself I was reaching for the box because it was a weapon, but my hand shook anyway. When my fingers closed around it, the hum deepened, not into sound, but into something older. Something that climbed through my bones and began to speak without words. The first vision slammed into me without warning. A Kryptonian kneeling in the ruins of what had once been a great hall, its marble floor fractured into jagged plates. His cape was tattered, his armor dented and streaked with ash. He cradled a woman in his lap, her hair dark and matted, her chest unmoving. I knew her face. Lois. Her skin had the stillness of the grave, and his hands were red to the elbow, shaking in a way that told me this wasn't the blood of an enemy. Around him, the air shimmered with the residual heat of something terrible, the aftertaste of a nuclear sun turned inward, unleashed in rage. The walls bore the mark of it, blackened in the shape of bodies burned where they stood. His eyes met mine. There was no plea in them, no grief left to give, only the cold certainty of a man who had decided the world that took her didn't deserve to exist. The second vision came with the weight of a fist to the chest. A boy, barely past youth, standing on a balcony that overlooked a city that was not Earth. The towers were jagged spires of black and silver, lit from within like molten ore. Behind him stood a man in full military armor, every line of it sharp enough to draw blood. General Zod. The boy wore no crest I recognized, but his bearing was pure soldier. Spine straight, chin up, hands clasped behind his back. His eyes tracked movement below. Prisoners being marched into a courtyard, kneeling in rows. I thought perhaps it was a trial. Then the boy spoke a single word in Krypton's tongue, and the soldiers opened fire. Not quickly, not mercifully. It was deliberate, a slow, grinding purge. He didn't flinch, didn't look away. When the last body fell, he glanced up at me, as if to say, "Is this what you wanted to see? This is who we are." And for the first time, I wondered, is this what Kal would have been if Krypton had raised him? The third vision crawled in like smoke, an endless field of ash where a city had once stood, the ground glassy underfoot. I saw my reflection in the shards, older by years I hadn't lived yet, eyes ringed with the kind of tired that doesn't go away. Lois stood behind me, whole, alive, her hand resting on the curve of her stomach. The child inside her shifted, a small, insistent movement that made something tighten in my chest. The box didn't speak this time. It didn't need to. I tore my hand away, my breath sharp and uneven, the cracked ribs biting with each inhale. The visions lingered like bruises in my mind. Darkseid studied me as if the box's song had been his own. "You saw." "I saw enough," I said, my voice low. "You saw the truth," he corrected. "Now you understand why I chose you." I looked down at the mother box still cradled in my palm. It hummed once, as if agreeing with him. My instinct was to throw it at his feet, let it shatter on this cold stone floor. But instincts don't win wars. I slid it to my belt instead. "I'll find him, but I'm not finding him for you." His eyes narrowed, the faintest curl of something like approval in them. "You'll find him because there is no one else who can." The hall beyond Darkseid was a tunnel of shadow and stone, carved with symbols older than most worlds. The air here had weight, not from gravity, but from the memory of every oath broken and every body burned to make this place. The mother box at my belt hummed, faint but constant, like it wanted to be part of my pulse. Each vibration seemed to sync with my ribs, a reminder of every hit Kal had landed, every second I'd stayed in that fight thinking I could reach him. The visions hadn't faded. Lois's stillness in his arms. The boy on Zod's balcony, watching a purge without blinking. Lois alive, hand over her stomach, the ash of a city swirling at our feet. All of them were waiting for me, and I was walking toward them. I passed under an archway where the light thinned to a dying ember. My boots struck the stone in slow, measured beats, each one echoing up into the vault above like the tick of a war clock. Somewhere in the shadows, I thought I heard machinery breathing, the slow, wet sound of something that wasn't meant to sleep. I didn't look back, not at him, not at the place that smelled like victory and graves. When the boom tube flared to life ahead, its blue-white glow washed over me, filling the edges of my vision with light and memory. Gotham's skyline burned in my mind. Kal's eyes, ember red, locked on me just before I was pulled away. I stepped into the light, the hum of the mother box deepening, and spoke quietly. To myself, to the box, maybe to him. I will find you, and you won't like the terms. The tube closed, and Apokolips was gone.